Hello everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm making a video response to my boy, The Chosen One. He made a video that was kind of fun. I figured I'd respond to it. It's 5 movies I'd punch you in the face over. I figured, there are some movies that whenever people bash on them, I'm just like, why are you bashing it? That's a great movie. Now, of course, some of the movies that 8 had, Constantine, I didn't like. Even when I first saw it when I was a kid, I thought it was stupid. Then I read the comics and it got even worse. And then I watched the show, and then the movie got even worse again because the show was like the comic, and the comic was great when the movie was nothing like the comic. I mean, it was like the comic, but it also wasn't at the same time. Keanu Reeves did an okay job being deadpan, but the guy who plays Constantine now is more like the Constantine from the comic, and Constantine is British, and the guy in the show has the accent. Keanu Reeves didn't, but Keanu Reeves still did an okay job being more deadpan. But whatever. There are movies on his list I absolutely agree with. Poultrygeist, oh my god, Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. My ex, she would not watch that movie. I told her the plot, I told her it was about zombie chickens, and she refused to watch it. And why do you think we're not together now? Oh man. She wanted me to watch Frozen, and she wouldn't watch Poultrygeist. Oh no, sirree, Bob. But here's how this is going to work. I actually have 5 runners-up first. The runners-up are in no particular order. The official list is in a particular order, though. Top 5 honorable mentions. Kick-Ass. Love this movie. Don't bash it. Spider-Man 2, the greatest comic book movie of all time. Wolf of Wall Street. If you don't like Wolf of Wall Street, then you don't like movies. Rocky, the original one. If you don't like Rocky, then you don't like feeling good about yourself. And by the way, 8, my collection is better than yours. I'm talking about my Rocky set, not your collection outweighs mine in every way, shape, and form. And Pacific Rim, if you don't like Pacific Rim, then you just simply don't like to have fun. That's just how I'm going to see it. And yes, I love Pacific Rim. Look at this case. It's the freaking, comes with Gypsy Danger, and that just proves that I'm the Kaiju King. Anyways, here's on to my official top 5 list movies I punch you in the face over. The first one being Serenity. Serenity, if you haven't seen Serenity, you're missing out. What can I tell you? But I never really heard anyone bash this movie because it is a great movie. Everyone knows it's a great movie. But I have a feeling I will run to that guy one day who didn't like it, and he will say something like, Joss Whedon's overrated, and then I'd be like, you're wrong. This movie's classic. This is the epitome of a science fiction movie, and people could be saying, oh, well, you have to watch the show in order to get the plot. Get out of here. I saw this movie when I was younger, a lot younger, not a lot younger, probably like 13 when this came out. I'm not sure what age I was when this came out, but I was definitely younger, maybe 15. And I did not see Firefly. I didn't even know Firefly was a show. All I saw was previews for this, and then my dad were the only 2 people in that theater to see it, and we loved it. And yes, that one scene still had emotional impact on us. So don't you dare say you have to watch the show in order to enjoy this movie. This is a great science fiction movie. It stands on its own right. And if you do watch the show, then it even increases it. And it's a perfect wrap-up story. Now this is a movie that's all around classic. I may have said Spider-Man 2 is the greatest comic book movie of all time, but this one's definitely great too. And this one I have to defend more for certain reasons. It's The Crow. The Crow, the original. I know they're remaking it. I do not want to see it look stupid. I mean, I haven't seen anything from it, but it's going to be more romanticized apparently. It could work. I doubt it will, but I'll keep an open mind for it. I'm not excited for it, but The Crow is a masterpiece. This is how you do a dark, gothic comic book movie. If you want to see how to do a legit, standard comic book movie perfectly, you see Spider-Man 2. If you want to see how to do a dark, gothic story, you see The Crow. The only reason why I don't even really consider this a comic book movie. I consider it a movie that's based on a comic. Spider-Man 2 is the perfect comic book movie. The Crow is one of the best movies that's based on a comic. And it's just all around great. The Crow comic is dark and grim, just like this. Sure, I like Spider-Man 2 more than this, but I will defend this movie because I feel as though some people might just bash it for no reason. Even though I'm not saying anyone is bashing it, I just want to let everyone know that. It's got great reviews, it has a cult following, that's great. But I'm just letting y'all know, better watch what you say. Now the third, it's not on DVD yet. So, you're not going to see me hold a case for it. And it's Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie was freaking phenomenal. I heard my one friend said his parents didn't like it. They wanted to walk out the movie or whatever, or they did walk out of the movie. And I was like, did they? What did they like about it? Was it the characters they didn't like because all the characters were great? Was the writing because the writing was spot on? Was the action because the action was entertaining? Every action scene in that movie was worth it. Even if it didn't have the action scenes, the characters themselves would have been great. If they didn't have the great characters, the action scenes would have been able to hold up. The whole movie is a masterpiece. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's the epitome of a comic book movie. That and Spider-Man 2, those are the top two greatest comic book movies I have ever seen. And Kick-Ass. It's actually a toss-up between which is done better. I like Kick-Ass more because it just has a certain charm to it, a more independent feel to it, whereas Guardians of the Galaxy definitely is a bigger budget movie. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I can't see why anyone would hate that movie. It has something for everybody. It has drama, it has comedy, it has action, it has suspense. It doesn't have it has good jokes. It has great timing, it has great characters, it has great set pieces, it has a great score, it has a great soundtrack. It has everything for everybody. And the fact that there are people out there who don't like it kind of bewilders me. The fact that this movie did not get 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes blows my mind. It's not like it's overly violent or anything like that. I just don't understand it. But anyways, we're moving on. Next is the reboot of this movie got flacked because it was too slow, because people don't understand how these types of movies work. They don't understand how real horror works. It didn't involve the monster enough, even though they never really saw the original series, but I can kind of pass on it because it is a modern day audience. But if you bash this one, we're not going to get along really well. It's Godzilla, or Gojira, the original one. You don't really have to see the American version of this, of Gojira. Just watch the Japanese version. You will have to read subtitles. Get over it. But this is phenomenal. It is a masterpiece. This is the greatest giant monster movie ever made. It has the greatest characters, it has the greatest story, it has the greatest monster. Godzilla, I know it's generic to say, but Godzilla is my favorite giant monster of all time. He's my favorite movie monster of all time. Godzilla is my favorite movie series of all time. I have every movie in the series. I have multiple copies of the movies in the series. It is the epitome of a giant monster series. It's, like I said, it's my favorite movie series of all time. Everyone says stuff like Star Wars, Back to the Future, The Matrix. I mean, maybe not The Matrix, but Lord of the Rings. Everyone says stuff like that. For me, it's Godzilla. Godzilla will always be my favorite film series. I have Godzilla figurines in my room. Some of them that I bought just this year because of the release of the movie. I have the 40-inch figure of the new Godzilla. It's sitting in my room, and I'm not ashamed of it. Godzilla's my favorite movie series of all time, and it always will be. I love collecting figures, and the fact that Godzilla has cool monsters, a cool main monster as well. It's fun to collect for, and don't bash this movie in front of me because I'll run you down. We'll go at it, man to man. Okay, now the first movie. The first movie, let me tell you something about it. I saw this in high school, and my mother got it for me because she's awesome like that. I remember hearing vague things about it. I did not know anything about the story. I didn't know who directed it. The director's one of my favorite directors of all time. But at the time, I didn't even know who he was. It was this movie that changed it for me. It's one of the best action movies, period. There's no... You can't argue with it. It is. And when people try to argue it, they're just wrong. You're just wrong if you try to argue with this. Because it has an endearing story. It has good characters with a bit of humor in it. It has an ending that's tragic. It has action and violence that's so spot on, where it's not glorified, but it feels like a ballet. It is so beautiful that even the greatest of dramas doesn't hold a candle to this movie's art. And that movie is John Woo's The Killer. This movie, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you. Dragon Dynasty did a pretty decent release with this. Sure, the quality of it isn't the greatest. I heard even the Blu-ray isn't that good. But I look past that because of John Woo. John Woo's masterpiece is this, and John Woo has made some phenomenal films. Hard Boiled, Last Hurrah for Chivalry, Face Off, Hard Target, Red Cliff. It's such a great track record. Broken Arrow might have been off, but that's just one movie. The Killer is his film. The Killer is the great. A Better Tomorrow as well. If you haven't seen A Better Tomorrow, check that out. Both the original and the remake. John Woo even approves of the remake, and I enjoyed the remake as well. But this is a standalone work of art. There is nothing I can say that's wrong with it. The dub might be a little strange, even. Sometimes with movies like this, I'll turn on the dub because I just want to watch the action, and the dub does keep in tone with the humor, even though it's not a comedy. There's some light moments in it. It keeps with that. But even subtitled, I'm still invested in it. I can watch this movie again and again. It's been a while since I've watched it because I kind of want to show it to somebody. Make them feel that this movie is a modern work of art, even though it was made back in the 80s. Because I feel as though someone needs to enjoy such a great film like this, and I want to pass that experience on the next time I watch it. So that's my top 5 movies I will punch you in the face over if you diss. If anyone makes a video response to this, send it over to 8 the Chosen One because it was his idea. But if you want to put it in my video too, that's fine. Anyways, that's my top 5, technically 10 movies I'd punch you in the face over. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys later.